expressions, dance, and music, and I'm here with Sharon, who got the exciting role to lead the Lil Elite Wranglers in the Inauguration Parade. Sharon, it's an event of a lifetime, but I know it also took a lot prior to get you guys going. So for those who don't know, how did that even happen? How did you all get chosen to be in the parade?
Well, we actually had to apply, so we sent in all of our credentials, which was a very lengthy process. We had to send in a video showing exactly how we would march and everything that we were going to do. And we normally dance on a stage or in a, on an auditorium floor.
Not a street.
Not a street. So we had to come up with an original way to move down the street while all these marching people are going by. We had to figure that out. So anyway, we had to turn that in, and once we did that, then we had to get letters of recommendation from our mayors and our congressmen and our representatives, and we did all of that, which was really great. And then we found out on December 20th that we were chosen as one of two groups from Texas, and it was overwhelming. It was the surprise of my life, honestly.
I can only imagine, and I know getting there was not easy. You all had how many people going with you?
Well, we took 105 people. 50 of them were Wranglers. And the cost was about $1,500 a person for hotels and flight transportation. We ended up chartering a plane so that we could all go together, and that was such a great experience. It was wonderful. It was less stressful for everybody. And we were able to look out for our people a lot better that way.
And what was it like dancing down the street in temperatures that some of these kids probably aren't used to?
Well, we had to prepare for that, actually. We went and we bought some cold weather gear, and we put it all under their uniform, and we had them practice in it. And the week before we left, the temperatures dropped here to the 20s. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
Yeah. And it happened to be the one night we were practicing outside.
Perfect.
Yes. And so we practiced outside. That lasted about 20 minutes. And then we came inside because it was too cold.
That's fine.
It was too cold. Actually, it was a mile. It was 1.65 miles.
I thought it was pretty far.
Yeah, and they danced it. Oh my gosh. And there was lifting, and the guys were lifting the girls on certain parts, and I walked it the whole way, leading, holding a flag on one side, and I was physically drained and exhausted.
Oh, I bet.
By the time I got to the end of it, I could hardly move.
So the poor dancers.
I couldn't even imagine. Well, and the kids were really great. They were troopers. They didn't even tell me that it had worn their soles down on their boots to the skin.
Oh my gosh.
There were 6 of them who had it worn down to the skin.
Wow.
So we are in dire need of a boot sponsor.
Yes. Well, you may be able to find you one.
Hopefully, yes.
So I have to ask, when you got up to the glass and you saw President Trump, his wife, his family, Vice President, former presidents, what was that experience like?
Oh, it was a memory that I'll have forever. Many of our families and friends were able to sit in the seats right by the White House, right where, the president was.
Right.
And so they got to actually see him when he got out of his motorcade and got out and walked. So they got to see all of that. I didn't get to see any of that. The dancers, myself, and my staff that were back there, we were waiting in line to march. And the parade got stopped a few times because of protests and things like that. And so we were standing out in the cold for about 3.5 hours. So that was hard. I have to say that was really tough. But once we got going, the adrenaline just took over. And then on the route, we saw our constables and police officers from the Brazos Valley. That was amazing.
I forgot they were there. Yeah.
Oh, I got choked up.
Oh, I bet.
They just, they just cheered for our kids, and it was amazing. And the moment when I walked in front of him, I actually shared a gig-em with Mike Pence.
Did you? Oh, that's awesome.
That was really neat. But just seeing them, they stood up when our kids got there. They stood up for them. And then I saw President Trump say, "They're wonderful."
The inaugural parade, like being able to perform in something so big, something that was going to be televised internationally, was something almost unbelievable. I thought they were actually pulling my leg at first.
It was really cool because it was like I was the youngest one, and that's really cool because there's a bunch of older people and I'm the youngest one.
My favorite part was all the experiences and memories that we made in D.C.
It was incredible. I'd actually never been to D.C. myself, and so just for myself, the trip was incredible, but to get to go and witness my son and his teammates and friends participate in an inaugural parade, which is an amazing opportunity, it was very moving. It was touching. I'm really not a person that gets very, I don't get overwhelmed by things, but actually seeing them march past and dance past the reviewing stand in front of the President and Vice President of the United States, that was very touching and moving.
Well, I just kind of had this feeling of disbelief, like I couldn't believe that he was standing like right there.
It is overwhelming to understand that the leader, the head of the country, is 10 or 12 feet away from you to your left, smiling, clapping along, and cheering you on as you're passing. The commander-in-chief of your country cheering for you is probably one of the most exhilarating experiences anyone can ever have.
Yes, I looked at him and smiled, and he smiled back at me.